In my past life, my husband chose to save my best friend's child. Watching helplessly as our own child drowned, I couldn't bear the heartbreak and died from the sheer agony. But when I opened my eyes again, I had miraculously returned to the time before the tragedy. I immediately took my baby away and bought a $60 million winning lottery ticket. This time, I'll make sure those two pieces of trash get exactly what they deserve. When I woke up, I was gripping a blue and white invitation in my hand. The bold words printed on it were glaring. My fingers went stiff. It felt like all the blood had been instantly drained from my body. My son, Xingxing, was crouching on the rug, putting dinosaur stickers on his little swimming ring. He was wearing a tiny yellow t-shirt, his soft hair falling over his forehead as he looked up and smiled at me. Mommy, Xingxing gets to play in the water today. My throat felt like it was being choked by a pair of icy hands. A sudden flash of murky, splashing water blinded my vision. Piercing screams, the sounds of people pushing and shoving, the lifeguard blowing his whistle, and my own voice, tearing my lungs out screaming Xingxing's name. In my past life, it was this exact same day. The water park was his company's new project. My child and I went there as family to support him, but I only found out when we got there that Chao Wanqing had also brought her son, Anon. Both children fell into an unfenced deep water zone at the same time. Wen Zhou was the closest to them. I saw it with my own eyes. He hesitated for barely a second, before swimming straight toward Chao Wanqing's child. My Xingxing was thrashing in the water, and after just a few short seconds, even his little hands sank beneath the surface. Later, Lu Wenzhou carried Anan onto the shore. Chao Wanqing fell to her knees, crying so hard she almost passed out. Everyone crowded around her, but when my baby was pulled from the water, he was already as white as a sheet. I held him in my arms, coughing up blood from screaming so hard. Lu Wenzhou came up to me with red eyes. Mingtang, it all happened too fast. Anan was closer to me. I didn't mean to do it. Chao Wanqing grabbed my hand, sobbing. Mingtang, please blame me. It's all my fault. But Anan is just a child too. How ridiculous. Her child is a child, but my Xingxing isn't? I couldn't survive the trauma. That very night, my heart gave out and I died in the hospital corridor. When I opened my eyes again, I had miraculously returned to the day before the tragedy. Mingtang, Lu Wenzhou was changing his shoes. He was wearing a dark gray suit, his cuffs impeccably neat. His tone was as gentle as always. Wanqing just called me. She's bringing Anan along too. The two boys can keep each other company. And it'll be more fun with more people. I looked up at him. This face, the face of the man I had loved for 7 years. Looking at him now, I felt absolutely sick to my stomach. Seeing my silence, Wenzhou frowned slightly. Don't get upset over Wanqing again. It's not easy for her to raise a child all by herself. We should help out however we can. I let out a smile. Very soft and very cold. The very next second, right to his face, I tore the invitation in half. The sound of ripping paper echoed sharply through the living room. Ling Wenzhou's face darkened. Sha Mingtang, what is your problem now? I crouched down and picked up Xingxing. Xingxing looked at me, confused. Mommy? I rubbed his little head. My voice was steady. We aren't going to the water park today, baby. Mommy's taking you somewhere else. He reached out to me. Mingtang, I already told the board that my family would be at the project launch. If you don't go now, are you trying to humiliate me? I turned away, dodging his hand. Why should my son care if you feel humiliated or not? He probably never expected me to speak to him in that tone. In all our years of marriage, I had been way too compliant. So compliant that he thought all he had to do was frown and I would automatically back down. Sha Mingtang, his tone grew harsh. Stop being so unreasonable. I held Xingxing tightly with one arm and grabbed my car keys with the other. I didn't even grab my purse from the entryway. Xingxing, hold on tight to mommy. Xingxing obediently wrapped his little arms around my neck. Ling Wenzhou reached out and grabbed my wrist. Where do you think you're going? I looked down at his hand. In my past life, these were the exact same hands that carried someone else's child. And abandoned my Xingxing. I violently shook him off. From this moment on, if you lay a single finger on me or my son, I will call the cops. He let out a cold laugh. Call the cops? Have you lost your damn mind? I didn't answer him. I carried my baby downstairs and immediately locked the car doors. Ling Wenzhou chased us down to the basement garage, his face livid as he slammed his hands against my window. I ignored him and pulled out my phone. I dialed a number. Hello, Lawyer Chin? This is Sha Mingtang. I need to file for a divorce and a freeze on all marital assets as soon as possible. The woman on the other end paused for a second. Miss Shaw, are you able to come to the firm right now? I glanced at Xingxing in the backseat. He was hugging his little plush dinosaur, staring up at me quietly. I took a deep breath. Yes, I am. I also need you to set up a trust fund, a safe place to stay, and a team of forensic accountants to audit a company's cash flow. Lawyer Chin's voice instantly grew serious. This isn't just a sudden impulse for you, is it? I started the engine. The headlights flared on, forcing Ling Wenzhou to take a step back. I slammed on the gas, speeding right past him. No, it's not. I stared at the glaring white light of the garage exit. I'm here to change my destiny. I wasn't going back home. I didn't go to a friend's house either. In my past life, I was way too used to seeking comfort from people I knew. That's why Lu Wenzhou could predict my every move so perfectly. Instead, I drove straight to a 5-star hotel right in the city center. I used a new phone, a new number, and a new bank card to book a suite. Xingxing sat on the sofa, happily eating his little cupcake. His eyes were sparkling. Mommy, are we staying in a castle today? I knelt down to wipe the frosting off the corner of his mouth. That's right, Mommy brought Xingxing to stay in a castle. Is Daddy coming too? I froze for a second, but quickly pulled myself together. No, he's not. Xingxing looked down and wiggled his little toy dinosaur's tail. But Daddy promised yesterday that he would take me swimming. I gently stroked his head, softening my voice. But Mommy wants to spend all day with you today. Kids are so easy to comfort. Adults, not so much. After coaxing him to sleep, I pulled out my old phone. I already had 10 missed calls on it. Chao Wanqing. I ignored them. Half an hour later, Lu Wenzhou sent a text. Sha Mingtang, how much longer are you going to throw this tantrum? The whole board of directors is here today. How am I supposed to show up all by myself? I stared at those words and actually laughed out loud. Even now, he still didn't care why his son didn't show up. All he cared about was his own pride. The next text was from Chao Wanqing. Mingtang, are you mad at me? I swear I never wanted to intrude on your family. Wenzhou noticed that Anan was in a bad mood recently and just wanted him to play with Xingxing. That's the only reason I said yes. Please don't be mad, okay? I took a screenshot of the message, saved it, and then turned the phone off completely. The next morning, I dropped Xingxing off at the hotel's kids club. I hired 2 certified nannies and even had the hotel arrange extra security for him. 9 in the morning, wearing a hat and a mask. I walked right into a lottery shop. I could never, ever forget it. In my past life, right after the accident with my baby, I was staring at the TV in the hospital hallway and saw the news of that exact lottery draw. 60 million. At the time, it just felt like a sick joke. Someone became filthy rich overnight, while someone else lost their entire world in a single night. But now, that winning set of numbers was safely in my hands, printed in fresh ink. Seeing how quick I was to buy it, the shop owner smiled and said, "Hey pretty lady, I hope you hit the jackpot." I just gave a soft reply. "Oh, I will." That night, when the numbers were drawn, Xingxing was already fast asleep. I sat by the window, my phone screen glowing as I checked the numbers one by one. Even when the very last number popped up, my fingers didn't tremble at all. 60 million, even after taxes. It's more than enough to fund my first battle. I didn't scream. I didn't cry, either. It wasn't some miracle, just the handle of a knife. Only by gripping it tightly. Does the blade truly belong to me? Early the next morning, I headed out. I kept my mask on the entire time, went through the standard procedures and took 0 photos. I refused all interviews. The folks at the lottery center asked if I wanted to share a few words about winning. I just said, no need. Walking out of that building, I headed straight to Qin Zhaoshui's law firm. Qin Zhaoshui is the top divorce lawyer in the city. She's handled plenty of high-stakes asset disputes for wealthy entrepreneurs. She's sharp-tongued and utterly ruthless, with a massive win rate. After reviewing my initial files, she raised an eyebrow. "Ms. Shaw, you came incredibly well prepared." I slid a piece of paper across the desk to her. It listed exactly 3 things. Number 1. Divorce. Number 2. Full custody of my child. Number 3. Investigate every single financial transaction tied to the companies under Lu Wenzhou and Chao Wanqing. Qin Zhaoshui looked right at me. "You absolutely sure you want to go this far? Once we start, there's no turning back." I met her gaze. "Miss Qin, I'm not here to save a marriage." She smirked. I love the sound of that. Right after that, I met with a trust advisor. The 60 million was split into 3 portions. One part went into an education and living trust for Xingxing. No one is allowed to touch it. Not even me. Another portion was placed into low-risk investments, acting as a safety net for just me and my son. And the final piece was set aside as my investment capital. The advisor gave me a warning. "Ms. Shaw, since you are still legally married, there is a chance the lottery winnings could be classified as marital property. It really depends on the source of the funds used to buy the ticket." I nodded. "I know. That's exactly why I need you and Ms. Qin to draft an airtight legal strategy. I don't mind splitting assets. What I absolutely won't allow is my money going to the wrong people." Qin Zhaoshui chimed in from the side. As long as we can prove he's committed severe marital faults and secretly transferred assets. You'll hold all the cards, I replied, then dig everything up. Later that afternoon, the hotel front desk called my room. Ms. Shaw, there's a Mr. Liu here claiming to be your husband. He's demanding to come up to see you. I walked over to the door and checked the security monitor. Liu Wenzhou was pacing in the lobby, looking completely furious. And to my absolute disgust, Chao Wanqing was right there with him, holding an in. She put on this pathetic, helpless little act. Wow, that was fast. I pressed the intercom button. Tell him, I'm not seeing anyone. The receptionist sounded incredibly nervous. Mr. Liu says, if you don't come down right now, he's going to call the cops and report you for kidnapping your own child. I let out a cold laugh. Then let him call them. And while you're at it, remind him. The child is perfectly safe right now, and I have the complete check-in records in my hands. Proof of guardianship, as well as the security footage of him trying to force his way into the car yesterday. The receptionist went silent for a second. Understood, Ms. Shaw. 10 minutes later, Qin Zhaoshui sent me a message. Hotel security is already on high alert, and our lawyers will be there if necessary. I replied with a single word. Okay. It didn't take long before Wenzhou's call came through to my new phone. I only gave this number to the lawyer in the hotel, so it looks like he pulled some strings. I answered it, and hit record. Wenzhou was seething with rage. Sha Mingtang, what the hell are you trying to do? I looked out the window. Divorce. The other end of the line went dead silent for a moment, and then he sneered. You're using this to force me to back down? Mingtang, don't forget, you have no job and no income. The kid will starve out on the streets with you. I smiled too. Wenzhou, you will soon find out. Who is really going to be out on the streets? At 4 o'clock that afternoon, a breaking news alert popped up on my screen. An accident occurred during the trial run of the Wensheng Family Water Park. Child was injured after entering an unopened aquatic area. They have been rushed to the hospital, and are currently not in life-threatening danger. I stared at the screen, unmoving for a long while. Xingxing was lying on the carpet, building his blocks. Hearing the phone chime, he asked, Mommy, what's wrong? I put down my phone, walked over, and pulled him into a hug. I squeezed him a bit tight, and he giggled. Mommy, you're so clingy today. I buried my face in his tiny shoulder. Mommy just wants to cling to Xingxing today. It felt so good. His little body was warm, his voice was bright. And he could still squirm around in my arms. This time, he didn't go, so he is alive. But the disaster that was bound to happen, still happened. That night. As soon as I answered the phone, I heard his exhausted, suppressed voice. Sha Mingtang, did you know this was going to happen? I narrowed my eyes. That's a very interesting thing to say. An accident happens at your company's project, and your first reaction isn't to check the safety protocols. But to ask if I knew about it? His tone faltered. That's not what I meant. Then what the hell did you mean? He fell silent. I spoke slowly. Yesterday, when I wouldn't let our kid go, you called me completely unreasonable. Today, when things go wrong, you ask if I knew all along. Don't you think you're being ridiculous? The sound of Chao Wanqing crying came from the other end of the line. Wenzhou, stop arguing with Mingtang. She must have been terrified too. It's all my fault. It's my fault for not keeping a close eye on Enon. How familiar. She always cried at just the right moment. Wenzhou immediately lowered his voice to comfort her. It's not your fault. I just watched them coldly. It's not her fault. In my past life, my baby died. And it wasn't her fault then, either. So whose fault was it? Was it fate? Or was it me, the mother, who shouldn't have blindly trusted her husband? I hung up the phone straight away. I saved the recording. Very quickly, Chao Wanqing posted a new status. I was truly terrified today. Nan just wanted to play with Xingxing. I never imagined something like this would happen. Thank goodness Wenzhou reacted so fast. Otherwise, I really wouldn't know how to go on living. I hope all mothers can be a little kinder. Please don't hurt the kids over adult conflicts. She didn't name names, but all our mutual friends knew she was targeting me. People quickly started commenting below. Wanqing, you're way too kind. As long as the kids are safe. Some people are just way too petty. We're all mothers here. How could anyone use a child to vent their anger? I finished reading, took screenshots, saved them, and sent them to Qin Zhaoshui. Qin Zhaoshui replied very quickly. We can issue a legal notice. This kind of suggestive smearing, tied to her real identity, is more than enough to build a defamation case. I replied, send it. Chao Wanqing received the legal notice. She called me immediately. I picked up. Her voice was trembling. Mingtang, why are you doing this? I was just upset for a second and made a post. I didn't mean any harm. I had the call recorded. My tone was flat. Delete it. She burst into tears. We've been friends for so many years. Do you really have to push me this far? Chao Wanqing, don't bring up friendship with me. She choked up, stared at the files Qin Zhaoshui had just sent to my computer screen. Qingzhou Culture. Chao Wanqing had a company under her name. Qingzhou Culture. It was called Qingzhou Culture. A registered capital of 500,000. Last year, it received 23 million in project funds from Dingsheng Cultural Tourism. Qingzhou Culture. I gently tapped the desk. Qingzhou Culture. Also, let me remind you of one thing. Whether that Qingzhou Culture company under your name is clean or not. You know best in your own heart. The crying on the other end of the line stopped dead. A few seconds later, her voice changed completely. You looked into me? I let out a laugh. That was her real voice. No crying, no fragile victim act, only sharp caution and panic. I'm not looking into you. I'm looking into where my joint marital assets went. Chao Wanqing's breathing grew heavy. Ming Tang, you misunderstanding something? That was just a standard project collaboration. Whether it was a collaboration or not, the court will see for itself. 10 minutes after my phone call, she deleted her social media post. Another half hour passed. She posted a public apology, beautifully written. Due to my inappropriate wording, which caused Ms. Shaw distress, I hereby sincerely apologize. Our mutual friends instantly went completely silent. Those who were just attacking me didn't make a single peep. I didn't reply. That first legal letter was just a knock on the door. The real knife was yet to come. Later that night, Qin Zhaoshui sent over the preliminary asset report under Wen Zhou's name. Real estate, stocks, mutual funds, and insurance. Among them, there was one specific policy. Stared at it for a long time. Policyholder. The insured was me. Beneficiary. The issue date was exactly 2 months before the water park accident. The payout? 30 million. My fingers slowly curled into a tight fist. In my past life, after I fell to my death, did this blood money fall into the Ling family's hands too? Xingxing was gone. I was gone too. Wen Zhou could just take the cash bought with my life and keep playing the devoted lover with Chao Wanqing. I forwarded the screenshot of the policy to Qin Zhaoshui. Investigate this to the very end. Qin Zhaoshui replied, understood. I shut my laptop and walked into the bedroom. Xingxing was fast asleep, hugging his little toy dinosaur. I sat on the edge of the bed and watched him for a long time. Then, I whispered, Xingxing, Mommy will never lose again. My mother-in-law stormed into the hotel. On the morning of the third day, she was wearing a sleek, designer suit. Her hair styled flawlessly. Her driver and the nanny trailed right behind her. She looked like she was here to hunt down a fugitive. The hotel manager had already tipped me off. I was sitting in the living room of my suite, a cup of hot tea resting in front of me. Qin Zhaoshui's assistant sat beside me, with a voice recorder placed right on the table. The doorbell rang. I had someone open the door for her. The moment my mother-in-law stepped in, her eyes swept aggressively across the room. Before finally locking onto me, Sha Mingtang, you are really getting completely out of hand. I calmly picked up my teacup. Mom, she let out a cold sneer. Don't call me, Mom. I can't afford the honor. Running away from home with my grandson, and even sending Wanqing a legal threat? Are you trying to completely drag our family's name through the mud? I gave her a flat look. The Ling family's reputation, am I the one destroying it? Her face instantly darkened. What the hell do you mean by that? I just turned the tablet to face her. Right there on the screen is the breaking news of the Wensheng water park accident. Project disaster. Children wander into unfinished construction zone. Safety staffing failed regulations. Now that is what you call a disgrace. Her eyes flickered for a second, but she quickly put her haughty airs back on. That is an internal management issue at the company. Right now, the most important thing is for you to hurry up and bring the kid home. Don't make a laughingstock out of us to outsiders. I replied, I'm not going back. You. Mother Lu slammed her hand on the table. Sha Mingtang, don't you forget. You eat the Lu family's food and spend the Lu family's money. Xingxing is the grandson of our family. He is not your personal property. I narrowed my eyes. The child is a living person, not an asset of the Lu family. She sneered. You are an unemployed woman. How exactly are you going to raise a child? Let me make this perfectly clear today. If we actually take this to court, there is absolutely no way you will get custody of Xingxing. The legal assistant next to me spoke up. Ms. Lu, please watch your words. Mother Lu finally noticed her. And who are you? I said flatly, my legal assistant. Every word of this conversation has just been recorded. Mother Lu's face instantly went completely pale. Sha Mingtang, you actually recorded us? I sure did. I set my teacup down. Right from the very first word you said when you walked in. Her chest was heaving with anger. Continued, you just admitted that the child is the grandson of the Lu family. Hinted at fighting for custody and degraded me for having no income or job. My lawyer will be compiling all of these statements. Mother Lu gritted her teeth. Do you really think you can scare me just by getting a lawyer? I pulled out a document and slid it over to her. This is the initial draft of the divorce agreement. Mother Lu didn't even glance at it. In your dreams, I gave a small smile. It's perfectly fine if he doesn't sign it. Then we will just file for a contested divorce. And when that time comes, the marital assets, the company shares, the life insurance beneficiaries, everything goes straight into the court's hands. Mother Lu's hand, which had been flipping through the papers, suddenly froze. She saw the $30 million insurance policy. The color drained from her face in an instant. I knew it. But Mother Lu quickly regained her composure and said coldly, "You looking into all this, are you trying to destroy Wenzhou?" I looked her dead in the eye. It is not me trying to destroy him. He was already rotten to the core. Mother Lu shot up from her chair, pointing a shaking finger right at me. "Sha Mingtang, don't you dare regret this. A divorced woman, dragging a kid around. Do you really think anyone else would even want you?" I didn't get angry. I actually let out a little laugh. "Ms. Lu, I am not a piece of merchandise. I don't need anyone to want me." She choked on her words, completely speechless. In the end, she stormed out and slammed the door behind her. The moment the door clicked shut, the way my legal assistant looked at me completely changed. "Ms. Shaw, you were very composed just now." I put away the voice recorder. It's not that I'm composed. It's that I finally realized, reasoning with them is absolutely useless. This family only cares about money. So, I'll speak to them in the language of money. In the afternoon, Qin Zhaoshui informed me that when Zhou agreed to meet face to face, the location was his company's conference room. He probably thought that playing on his home turf would give him the upper hand. When I walked in with Qin Zhaoshui, Lu Wenzhou was sitting at the other end of the long table, dressed in a sharp suit with faint dark circles under his eyes. When he saw me, his very first sentence was, "You've lost weight." Qin Zhaoshui let out a light laugh. "Mr. Lu, today is not a marital mediation session." Wenzhou's eyes turned cold. I sat down and slid the divorce agreement across to him. He glanced at it and sneered, "You get the child, you get the house, and you still want to split our marital assets? Sha Mingtang, what gives you the right?" I raised my hand and Qin Zhaoshui placed the first document on the table. It was the first marital fund transfer Lu Wenzhou made to Qingzhou Culture, 5 million. The second document, 12 million. The third document, 6 million. The fourth document was the kickback record from Qingzhou Culture to Lu Wenzhou's personal assistant. The air in the conference room froze over inch by inch. I looked right at him. "You use our joint assets to fund someone else's company, and you have the nerve to ask me what gives me the right?" He lowered his voice. That was a normal business collaboration. Qin Zhaoshui immediately cut in. "Since it's a normal collaboration, we will file a motion to pull the contracts, the invoices, deliverables, and the tax records." I slid the very last document across to him. The 30 million life insurance policy. "And this." Lu Wenzhou's face finally drained of color. I asked him, enunciating every single word. 2 months before the accident at the water park, you took out a 30 million accidental death policy on me, and named your mother as the beneficiary. Wenzhou, do you love me? Do you just want me dead?" He abruptly stood up. "Sha Mingtang." I didn't flinch. I wasn't afraid either. "Sit down." He stared daggers at me. My tone was dead calm. "Every single time you lose your temper right now, it becomes evidence for our side." Lu Wenzhou's fist slowly clenched tight. Finally, he sat back down. This was the very first time he had ever bowed his head in front of me. Even if it was just for 1 second, it was enough. I stood up. "You don't have to sign the agreement." I gathered my documents. "We'll just see you in court then." Just as I reached the door, Wenzhou suddenly called out to me. "Mingtang, are you seeing someone else behind my back?" I looked back at him, and almost laughed out loud. The most ridiculous thing about men is that they're selfish to the very core. They always think that when a woman leaves them, it's definitely because of another guy. I said, "Not everyone is like you." Still making excuses even after messing up. The first time I met Shen Yanji was in Qin Zhaoshui's private meeting room. He looked even colder than in his photos. A black shirt, dark suit pants, with his cuffs rolled up to his forearms, and absolutely no extra accessories on his wrists. His eyes were deep set, and when he looked at you, there was zero emotion. It felt like he was evaluating a risk report. Qin Zhaoshui made the introductions. Shen Yanji, founder of Anzhou Tech. Sha Mingtang, my client, and also a potential investor. Shen Yanji looked right at me. Lawyer Qin mentioned, "You want to invest in children's safety tech?" I replied, "To be exact, I want to invest in a children's water safety system that can actually save lives." His eyes flickered slightly. I placed a file on the table. "Your company's AI water surface anomaly recognition model had a very high accuracy rate in early testing, but your capital chain won't last until the bidding for the city-level demonstration project. You guys are short on cash, and you're missing someone who can actually launch this product into the family tourism market." Shen Yanji didn't ask how I knew all that. He just opened the file and skimmed through it. "Ms. Shah, you've really done your homework. I've done my risk assessment. He looked up at me. What do you want? 12% equity, an observer seat on the board, veto power over major projects, and the right to co-create the bidding strategy for the city-level demo project. The meeting room went dead silent. Qin Zhaoshui raised an eyebrow, clearly not expecting me to be so ruthless. Shen Yinji closed the folder. How much are you putting in? A 20 million initial investment, paid out in 3 phases. Phase 1, 8 million, wired right after we sign the contract. Phase 2, 7 million, wired after the testing phase is complete. Phase 3, 5 million, wired right before the bidding documents are submitted. He stared at me intently. You really know how to manage risk. I replied, I'm not running a charity. Shen Yinji suddenly let out a small smile. It was very faint, and I don't let outsiders dictate the tech. Which is exactly why I won't touch the tech. I pushed another folder across the table. I only handle the market, risk control, and exploiting bidding loopholes. He flipped it open, and when he saw the title on the first page, his expression finally changed. The title read, Suspected Outsourcing Fraud in Wensheng Tourism's Children's Water Safety System. I spoke up. The real competitor isn't your tech peers. It's Lu Qingzhou's Wensheng Tourism. They want to go public using the family tourism concept, and the children's safety system is the core of their valuation. Shen Yinji flipped through the pages rapidly. I continued, but their system doesn't have any independent core patents. Their test data is highly likely just repackaged stuff from an outsourcing company. As long as we expose this right at the bidding site, they are out. And you guys step up. Shen Yinji nodded. What exactly are you and Mu Wenzhou? Soon to be ex-husband. He fell silent for 2 seconds. So, you investing in Anzhou? Is it just for revenge? I looked him right in the eye. At first, yes. He didn't say a word. I continued, but if it were purely for revenge, I could have just handed his files over to the regulators and watch him die a slow death. I invested in you because this industry desperately needs someone who treats safety like actual safety, rather than a marketing pitch for an IPO. After I said that, Shen Yinji truly looked at me for the first time. It wasn't a scrutinizing look, but one of deep understanding. My mother died in a campus safety incident, he said suddenly. The equipment had been broken for 3 months. Supplier claimed it wouldn't affect its use, but later, when the accident happened, everyone just called it a tragic accident. I didn't reply, because I knew that some pain simply doesn't need comforting. Shen Yinji put away the documents. 10% equity, a board observer seat, and no veto power. I smiled. 12%. Veto power is strictly limited to financial fraud, data manipulation, and downgrading safety standards. He looked at me for a few seconds. Deal. Qin Zhaoshui chuckled softly. You two negotiating sure saved me a lot of breath. Contract was signed very quickly. Shen Yinji called out to stop me. Ms. Shaw. I turned around. He said, I won't pry into your private matters, but let me remind you, Shengwen Tourism is backed by more than just Mu Wenzhou. If you go after him, you'll be stepping on a lot of toes. I said lightly, then I'll just take them all down together. A faint glimmer surfaced in his eyes. Good. On the way back to the hotel, I got a call from the kindergarten teacher. The teacher sounded really troubled. Xingxing's mom. It's Xingxing's godmother. She wants to take him out for dinner. My fingers went ice cold. Where is my child? Oh, please don't worry, we didn't let her take him. Since you updated the authorized pickup list earlier, only you and your designated nanny can pick him up. I closed my eyes in relief. Thank God, I was one step ahead. Please save the security footage. My lawyer will be in touch with the school. The teacher quickly agreed. I immediately told the driver to turn around and head for the kindergarten. By the time I reached the gate, Tao Wanqing hadn't left yet. She was wearing a little white dress, her eyes all red, standing at the gate looking like she had suffered the world's biggest grievance. Seeing me, she immediately rushed over. Ming Tang, I just wanted to see Xingxing. He used to call me Auntie Chow, you know. Why do you have to guard against me like I'm some kind of thief? I walked right up to her and directly started recording her on my phone. Chao Wanqing's face instantly stiffened. What the hell are you doing? Listen to me, Chao Wanqing. I am officially warning you. From today on, you are not allowed to pick up my son without my permission. If there is a next time, I will call the cops for kidnapping a minor. Her tears instantly fell. How did you turn into someone like this? I know you blame me, but the kids are innocent. I watched her cry. So you do know that kids are innocent. She froze. I took a step forward, lowering my voice. Then why did you take your son? To an undeveloped deep water zone? All the color instantly drained from Chao Wanqing's face. I stared right into her eyes. Don't panic. We'll get my hands on that security footage. Her lips trembled. I don't know what you're talking about. I put my phone away. The court will jog your memory. I turned around and walked into the kindergarten. Behind me, Chao Wanqing suddenly yelled. Sha Mingtang, do you really think just because you won a little bit of money, You can turn the world upside down? I stopped in my tracks. She was finally showing her true colors. I looked back at her. It wasn't just a little bit. I smiled. It was a lot. Chao Wanqing was much more reckless than I had imagined. That very night, she started a live stream. The title read, "Do single mothers really not deserve any kindness?" When I clicked in, she was sitting in front of the camera, sobbing. And was leaning against her chest, his little wrist wrapped in gauze. The live chat was flooded with sympathy. "Don't cry, sis. Being a single mom is so hard. Did the legal wife bully you?" Chao Wanqing shook her head, her voice choking up. "Please, don't guess. She used to be my best friend. Maybe I didn't handle things well, and it caused her to misunderstand." She didn't name names, but every single word was meant to mislead the audience. "I just wanted the kids to play together. I had no idea she would get so angry. She even got a lawyer to warn me to stay away from her child." The chat instantly blew up. "That is so evil. It's just kids being kids. Why are the adults making such a big deal out of it? Some people are just awful." Chao Wanqing looked down and wiped her tears. "I don't have money, or a powerful background. I just wanted them to be like any normal kid. To have friends, and to feel safe. I watched quietly to the end, but didn't make a move right away. Yu called me. She was a former colleague from the investment firm I worked at before getting married. Now, she does in-depth financial reporting. She has a sharp tongue. And even sharper eyes. Sha Mingtang, your bestie really knows how to play the victim. Drama channels are already reposting her stream. If you don't handle this now, by tomorrow morning, you'll be the evil, power-abusing legal wife." I replied, "Let her put on a show for 10 more minutes." Xie Yu laughed. "Aren't you afraid? The more she runs her mouth, the harder the evidence is going to slap her in the face." 10 minutes later, Chao Wanqing actually started to escalate things. He looked right at the camera and said, "I just do not understand. Why can some women enjoy their husband's care, but act so cold towards someone else's child? That day at the water park, if Wenzhou had not saved An in time, I really would have lost him. She actually had the nerve to bring up Ling Wenzhou. That was all I needed. I sent the data package over to you." Half an hour later, a financial account dropped the first post. The headline was simple: "Behind the Wenqing Cultural Tourism Accident. Why was an uninspected area opened early?" The article did not waste a single word. It just laid out the hard evidence. The first section was the water park's floor plan. The second section was the safety regulations for the trial run. The third section was a clear screenshot from the security footage. In that screenshot, Chao Wanqing was holding An's hand, walking right past the temporarily closed sign. Wenzhou's project manager was standing right there on the phone, not lifting a finger to stop them. The fourth section exposed the shady business ties between Qingzhou culture and Wenqing cultural tourism. The comment section flipped in an instant. So she dragged her own kid into a closed-off area? She is not just some innocent victim. And their safety management is an absolute joke. Lu Yu followed up with a second piece. Did the friend Ms. Chao mention commit defamation? This one was even more brutal. She tore apart Chao Wanqing's suggestive live stream comments word by word. And slapped on our lawyer's letter along with Chao Wanqing's official apology. The internet is not stupid. As long as the proof is solid, public opinion shifts faster than a coin flip. Viewers flooded into Chao Wanqing's live stream. But this time, the comments were not kissing up to her anymore. "Did you not just say you wanted to let your kid play? Why sneak into a closed area? Qingzhou culture is your own damn company. What exactly is going on between you and Wenzhou?" You could see Chao Wanqing panicking in real time. She scrambled to shut down the stream, but the more she freaked out, the more she messed up. "Those are all lies. I do not know anything about any company. Wenzhou set all of that up. I was just..." She snapped her mouth shut, but the damage was already done. Every single person in that live stream heard it. Wenzhou set it up. I stared at the screen and let out a cold laugh. "You texted me. She just handed us a massive bombshell herself." I texted back. Screen recorded and secured. The very next day, Ling Wenzhou came crawling to me. This time, he did not wait in the hotel lobby. Instead, he booked a meeting right at my law firm. The second he sat down, he snapped. "Ming Tang, get those articles taken down right now." I fired back, "Excuse me? Things are completely blowing up." I took in the heavy dark circles under his eyes. Wenqing Cultural Tourism's expected stock price took a hit. Your IPO advisors are demanding extra statements, and the board is breathing down your neck. He was finally sweating. I was not the one who blew this out of proportion. Slid the tablet across the table to him. Right there on the screen. It was what Chao Wanqing said during her live stream. Lu Wenzhou arranged it. She brought it upon herself. Lu Wenzhou's face turned completely livid. She was just too panicked. I let out a dry laugh. "You see? You can always find a convenient excuse for her." He lowered his voice. "Mingtang, do we really have to come to this?" I looked right at him. I suddenly felt it was all so incredibly pointless. A man like this only ever remembers our relationship when his own interests are on the line. Sign the divorce agreement. If you do, I can hold off on releasing more dirt for now. He glared at me. Are you threatening me? It is not a threat. It is a transaction. I leaned forward slightly. And you know all about transactions, do you not? Don't you? He stayed dead silent for a long time. Finally, he spoke up. There is absolutely no way I am giving up custody of the child. I nodded. Then we have nothing left to talk about. I stood up to leave, but he suddenly lunged and grabbed my wrist. The very next second, the meeting room door was shoved open. Shen Yanji stood in the doorway, with the law firm's security guards right behind him. His gaze dropped down to Lu Wenzhou's hand. His voice was freezing cold. Let her go. Lu Wenzhou frowned deeply. Who the hell are you? I yanked my wrist back. He is my business partner. Lu Wenzhou's eyes darted back and forth between us. He let out a cold sneer. Oh, so that is how it is. Sha Mingtang, you are in such a desperate rush to get a divorce. And it is all because of him. Before I could even open my mouth to reply, Shen Yanji had already walked in. He slammed a folder down onto the table. Mr. Lu, instead of obsessing over Miss Shaw's private life, you might want to worry about the safety system test report for Wensheng Tourism first. The data your company submitted to the bidding platform has 2 sets of timestamps that completely fail to match up. Shen Yanji stared right into his eyes. Standing off to the side, for the very first time, I felt that having Shen Yanji as a business partner was incredibly useful. Not because he was playing the hero for me, but because he knew exactly where to strike the snake to make it hurt the most. His ultimate weak spot was not me at all. It was his desperate dream of taking his company public. On the day of the city-level children's safety demonstration bidding event, Lu Wenzhou wore a sharp, dark blue suit. He stood tall in front of the Wensheng Tourism exhibition booth. Right behind him was his public relations director, the head of tech, and a board representative. His face had somehow recovered that perfectly respectable smile of his. But the moment he saw Shen Yanji and me walking in together, his eyes instantly darkened. Chao Wanqing was there too. She was wearing a beige tailored suit. Her eyes were still a bit red and puffy, looking just like a fragile little white flower battered by the storm. Too bad for her, this was a corporate bidding event, not her personal live stream. Over at the judges' panel sat the government procurement representatives, top industry experts, safety regulators, and media observers. Her pathetic tears meant absolutely nothing in a room like this. Only hard data mattered here. The exhibition booth for Anzhou Tech was not very large, but clean and concise. With only 3 core products: the child anti-separation smart wristband, the AI water surface anomaly detection camera. Shen Yanji was in charge of the technical demonstration. When it was Wensheng Cultural Tourism's turn, Lu Wenzhou took the stage himself. His voice was steady, and his stage presence was excellent. He spoke about family tourism and smart parks, proposing a new standard for children's safety in Pucheng City. If I hadn't already died once, I probably would have believed he was a responsible entrepreneur, too. That is, until their big screen displayed the test data. I looked down at my documents. Page 3, nighttime pool recognition accuracy at 98.7%. Page 7, 30 consecutive days with 0 false alarms. Page 11, the test site was listed as Wensheng Water Parks Zone B. I glanced up. I exchanged a look with Shen Yanji, and he gave a slight nod. When it was time for the Q&A session, I raised my hand. The host glanced at the list. Strategic investor from Anzhou Technology, Ms. Sha Mingtang. Lu Wenzhou's eyes locked onto mine. Quite a few people in the audience recognized our relationship and started whispering among themselves. I picked up the microphone. You mentioned in your report that the Zone B pool underwent 30 consecutive days of nighttime testing from the 1st to the 30th of last month. Correct? Lu Wenzhou's expression remained perfectly composed. That is correct. I opened the file in my hands. But according to the construction progress report that Wensheng Cultural Tourism submitted to the regulatory board, Zone B wasn't filled with water until the 17th of last month. The lighting adjustments were finished on the 21st, and it didn't pass the temporary power inspection until the 25th. The entire room instantly fell dead silent. I looked him dead in the eye. A pool with no water, no lighting, and no power. How exactly did it complete 30 consecutive days of nighttime testing? The smile on Lu Wenzhou's face completely froze. Behind him, the head of technology frantically started flipping through his documents. The judges on the panel began whispering to one another. Ms. Shaw, you might be misunderstanding the testing process. Some of the tests were conducted in a simulated environment. I firmly replied, but your report specifically states on-site testing, not simulated testing. I cast my document onto the big screen. The red circles highlighted the discrepancies clear as day. The media reporters in the room immediately raised their cameras. I continued, my second question, you claim your AI recognition system is developed in-house. But a patent search reveals that the core algorithm actually comes from an outsourcing company. And that same company received multiple complaints last year due to 3 separate incidents involving safety equipment false alarms. This is a formal bidding conference. It's not the place for you to vent your personal grievances. I smiled. I had been waiting for him to say exactly that. I looked toward the judges panel. Honorable judges, that is exactly the point I want to make. A children's safety project is not a prop for a corporation to spin a story for its IPO. And it is certainly not a place for anyone to vent their personal emotions. I turned back to face Lu Wenzhou, which is why I am only talking about the data, not personal matters. The main screen switched, and Wenzhou Technology began displaying our actual testing footage. A child dummy slipped into the pool. Within 3 seconds, the system detected the anomaly. A light and sound alarm triggers within 5 seconds, and a push notification is sent to the lifeguard's terminal within 10 seconds. Phase 2. Once the child's wristband leaves the safe zone by 15 meters, both the parent's app and the management end will alert simultaneously. Phase 3. In low-light night scenarios, ripples on the water surface are often misidentified. The error rate is clearly marked on the side. We aren't pretending it's perfect. I picked up the microphone. Wenzhou Tech does not promise 0 accidents. Because absolutely no system can replace human responsibility. What we do promise is, all data is fully traceable, and all tests can be re-verified. And no equipment will be used commercially until it fully meets the standards. As those words fell, someone on the judging panel nodded. The results were announced in the afternoon. Wenzhou Tech took first place. Qingsheng Tourism, due to suspicious flaws in their testing reports, was asked to provide a supplementary investigation, and their entry qualifications were suspended. Lu Wenzhou stood in the corner of the hall, his face as ugly as if he'd just been slapped. When Shen Yanji and I walked out of the venue, he stopped me. Sha Mingtang, are you really going to push me to a dead end? I stopped in my tracks. Are you mistaken about something? I looked at him, emphasizing every single word. It wasn't me who pushed you to a dead end. You buried those landmines on your own path. I just stopped stepping on them for you. Chao Wanqing chased after us from behind, her eyes welling up with tears. Mingtang, Wenzhou has already been having a really hard time lately. You two were husband and wife, after all. Why do you have to be so ruthless? I looked at her. When your Qingzhou culture received 23 million from Wenzhou's Qingsheng Tourism, did you ever stop to think that he and I were husband and wife? Her face turned pale. I took a step forward. When you played the victim on your live stream and pushed me into cyberbullying, did you ever stop to think that we were once friends? Her lips trembled, unable to speak a single word. I pulled my gaze away. Don't be in such a rush. You're next. After losing the bid for Qingsheng Tourism, Wenzhou started to pull back. He stopped bothering me so often and didn't show up at the hotel anymore. But I knew he wasn't just giving up. He was waiting for a chance to strike back. Sure enough, 3 days later, a trending surge dropped out of nowhere. 60 million lottery woman forces husband's company out. When I clicked on it, the top article was already painting a very convincing picture. It claimed my personality completely changed after winning the lottery, that I abandoned my husband's family, colluded with his rival Shen Yanji, and deliberately sabotaged my husband's company at the bidding conference. All just to get revenge on him for helping out a single mother. The article didn't use my full name directly, but it pieced together Ms. Shaw, Mr. Liu, and Ms. Chow clear as day. This woman is terrifying. Turns her back the moment she gets rich. Ruining a company over marital infighting. How petty. What did that single mother ever do to her? I finished reading the comments. And I wasn't even angry. Honestly, I wanted to laugh. Wenzhou really still didn't understand me. He thought I was terrified of a bad reputation. But for someone who had already experienced a brutal death holding her child, the last thing I'd ever fear is other people's gossip. Yanji called me. Do you want me to suppress the trending searches? I said, no need. Let it brew a little longer. Waiting for them to raise the stakes. Right. That night, Chao Wanqing started another live stream, just as expected. This time, she looked even more worn out. She claimed she wouldn't stay silent anymore. She cried that Anan was too scared to go to school because of the online hate, and that Wenzhou only helped out of pure friendship. And that she was being framed. Finally, she looked right into the camera, tears streaming down her face. I know Ming Tang hates me, but she really shouldn't let her hatred for me destroy all of Wenzhou's hard work over the years. I finished watching her little show, hit save, and texted Qin Zhaoshui. You can post it now. At 10 a.m. the next morning, Qin Zhaoshui's law firm released an official statement. The first piece of evidence was a screenshot of Chao Wanqing's private messages with a drama blogger before her stream. She personally fed them the buzzwords, like jealous single mom and collusion. The second piece of evidence was Qingzhou Culture's bank statements. 23 million, coming straight from Wensheng cultural tourism. The third piece of evidence was Qingzhou Culture's so-called project deliverables. Out of 3 PowerPoints, 2 were completely plagiarized. The actual implementation was 0. The fourth piece of evidence was the charity fundraising record Chao Wanqing set up, claiming Anan was severely sick. Total funds raised? 780,000. 260,000 of that went straight into her personal beauty treatments, luxury bags, and vacations. The fifth piece of evidence was the law firm's official declaration. Our firm has already addressed the related infringement, suspected fraudulent fundraising, and clues of marital asset transfers by submitting all materials to the relevant authorities. The internet completely exploded. This time, the trending title was Wensheng Cultural Tourism Connected Transaction Scandal. Chao Wanqing's livestream clips were mercilessly edited. Her tearful, "When Joe was just helping me," became a massive joke. The comment section did a total 180. Help to the tune of 23 million? Wow, what a generous friend. Buying designer bags with charity money? That kid is literally just a tool to her. The wife is so cool-headed. She held back before because she was gathering all the receipts. This sister is ruthless, and I am so here for it. I locked my phone and went to pick up Xingxing from school. He ran out with his little backpack, bumping his head right into my arms. Mom, today the teacher said the little boat I drew was really pretty. Picked him up. Oh, really? You'll have to draw it for Mom when we get home. He leaned against my ear and whispered, Mom, is Auntie Chow going to come back? I paused for a second. No, she won't. He nodded and hugged me tight. I don't like her. She always says Anon is more pitiful than me, and tells me I have to give my things to Anon. My heart felt like it had been pierced by a needle. So, even in the places I couldn't see, she had already been reaching her claws toward my child. I crouched down and looked right into Xingxing's eyes. Xingxing, just because someone is pitiful, doesn't mean you have to give up what is yours. Your feelings, your safety, they are all so important. Xingxing clung to me, half understanding. Then Mommy is important too. I froze. Then I smiled. Important. So important. I'm not just a mommy. I am also Sha Mingtang. That evening, Shen Yanji came to my hotel to talk about the project. After Anjo Tech secured the bid, the funding offers started pouring in. A lot of them were just venture capitalists hoping to buy in cheap and early. I read through the letters of intent and immediately crossed out 2 of the firms. We're dropping these 2, Shen Yanji asked. Why? The first one shares a limited partner with Wensheng Tourism. If we let them in, they'll snoop on our bottom line. The second one loves making performance bets. Anjo is still rolling out its products right now. We can't afford to let investors pressure us into chasing short-term numbers. Shen Yanji looked at me, his gaze much softer than the first time we met. You're an even better fit for a partner than I imagined. My hand paused as I flipped through the files. You can be direct. No need to sugarcoat it. He let out a small laugh. Sha Mingtang, you are incredible. I looked up at him. I hadn't heard that in such a long time. After I got married, Lu Wenzhou used to tell me, you don't need to work so hard. Having me provide for the family is enough. If a woman is too ambitious, it just stresses a man out. But Shen Yanji, you are incredible. He wasn't pitying me. He wasn't just sweet-talking me either. He was genuinely validating my abilities. I looked back down and kept going through the files. I will gladly take that compliment. But for our next round of funding, our valuation cannot be less than 300 million. Shen Yanji raised an eyebrow. You've got a massive appetite. I just smiled. Not at all. How else am I going to swallow Wensheng whole? After Chao Wanqing's massive scandal broke, Lu Wenzhou made his very first fatal mistake. He publicly cut ties with her. Wensheng Tourism released an official statement, claiming Qingzhou Culture was just a standard supplier, completely unrelated to the personal affairs of company executives. They stated all partnerships were fully compliant, and if the supplier had any personal issues, the company would fully cooperate with any investigations. This statement seemed to wash his hands clean of everything, but in reality, it stabbed Chao Wanqing right in the back. She didn't say a single word that day. But the very next day, her lawyer reached out to Qin Zhaoshui. She wanted to talk to me. We set the meeting at Qin Zhaoshui's law firm. When Chao Wanqing showed up, she looked like she had lost half her body weight. Not even her heavy makeup could hide how haggard she looked. She sat down right across from me. No more fake tears. Good. I was finally seeing her true colors. The very first thing she said was, Mingtang, I can apologize. I can even give back all the money. But please, can you just let Anan go? I stared at her coldly. I have never laid a finger on your child. She bit her lip. But the people online, they're going to completely tear him apart. That is because you pushed him in front of the camera. Her eyes turned red, but this time, she did not cry right away. I had no choice. I have been raising my child all alone these past few years. If I didn't rely on Wenzhou, how was I supposed to survive? I let out a dry laugh. Survive by leeching off my husband? By draining my marital assets? By stealing charity donations? Her expression turned grim. You already have so much. Why couldn't you just share a little bit with me? I almost laughed out loud at her sheer audacity. Chao Wanqing, you are finally speaking your mind. She gritted her teeth. You were born into privilege. You married better than I ever could. And your child is perfectly healthy. But look at me, I have absolutely nothing. I just wanted an and to have a better life. Is that such a crime? I leaned back in my chair. You can be poor, you can struggle, you can feel bitter about your hand in life. But you do not steal, you do not rob, and you absolutely do not use my child to pave the way for yours. Her head snapped up. I slid a file folder across the table to her. These are the bank statements showing the money Wensheng tourism funneled into Qingzhou culture. You want me to let you off the hook? Fine, tell me everything you know about Wenzhou's hidden money trails. Chao Wanqing's fingers trembled. I don't know. Then we are done here. I stood up. She suddenly yelled out, wait. I looked back. She squeezed her eyes shut. Like someone finally backed into a corner, she confessed. Some of the money didn't go into Qingzhou culture. It went through another supplier owned by Wensheng. Contracts were fake, but the invoices were real. Wenzhou said he needed to wash the cash clean before the company went public. And stash it in a safe pool. Qin Zhaoshui immediately took notes. I asked her for the company's name. Chao Wanqing rattled off 3 names, and I jotted them down one by one. One of them I had actually heard of in my previous life. When Wensheng Tourism crashed and burned after going public, the massive scandal started with that exact company. I stared at Chao Wanqing. She lowered her voice and whispered, Wenzhou has a secret burner phone. He doesn't keep it at the office. It's hidden in his apartment down in the South City. The South City apartment. I knew that place well. It was supposed to be a temporary rest spot the company provided for executives. Turns out, it was his secret stash house. After spilling everything, Chao Wanqing looked up at me. I told you all of this. Are you going to let me go now? I picked up my purse. I only promised to truthfully report your cooperation to the authorities. She shrieked. Sha Mingtang, are you screwing me over? I stopped in my tracks. Chao Wanqing, justice isn't a farmer's market for you to haggle in. The things you have done cannot be wiped clean just by apologizing to me. She glared at me with pure hatred. You've changed. I looked back at her. Yeah, I gave a faint smile. How could someone who was already killed by you people once not change? 1. She froze in place. I didn't bother explaining, and there was no need to. After leaving the law firm, I immediately sent the names of the 3 companies to you and Shen Yanji. You replied. One of them was involved in a fake invoicing scandal last year. I'll look into it. Shen Yanji replied. 2 of them are bidding for Wensheng. The equipment suppliers have overlapping shareholders. Qin Zhaoshui started preparing the application for property preservation. All 3 lines were advancing simultaneously.
และก็เหนื่อยล้าเต็มทนแล้วด้วยฉันยกมือขึ้นปัดมือของเฉินหลินออกไปอย่างแรง
Thay đổi không ít nha. Xinh đấy. Tung ma pháp phẩm cấp hiếm. Informação é mercadoria. Hiếm khi thấy cậu điệu đà thế này. Đừng nói là cậu mặc đẹp thế này là để gặp tớ đấy nhé.
Aren't you just pissed off because I saved an in? Xing wasn't even there that day. Nothing even happened in the end. Why the hell are you still clinging to this? My heart jolted violently. He actually said, nothing happened. Oh, right. Because in this lifetime, Xing is still alive. So, in his eyes, everything can just be brushed aside. I slowly walked up to him. Let me ask you something. He stared at me. If Xing had fallen down that day too, who would you have saved first? His lips trembled, but no answer came. 4, 8 seconds, 5, 4, 2 seconds, 8, 5. 4, 3 seconds, 8, 9, 4. The answer was already crystal clear. 9, 4. I let out a bitter laugh. 8, 9, 4. See? 8, 9, 4. Even you don't dare answer that. 9, 4. Lu Wenzhou's face drained of all color. 9, 4. I turned on my heel and walked away. 9. From behind me came his choked, suppressed voice. 9, 4. Mingtang, there's no going back for us, is there? I didn't even turn my head. From the very second you hesitated, there was already no going back. On the day our divorce case finally went to trial, it rained. I wore a tailored black suit. My hair was pulled up, and the only jewelry I wore was a small pair of pearl earrings. I dropped Xing off at school, right before leaving the house. He hugged my leg and asked, Mommy, are you going to go fight the monsters today? I crouched down, and straightened his collar. He pulled a sticker out of his pocket, and pressed it onto the back of my hand. The dinosaur warrior will protect Mommy. I smiled warmly. Mommy's going to win. A massive crowd of reporters had gathered at the courthouse entrance. Wensheng culture and tourism had been plagued by endless scandals lately, and Lu Wenzhou's messy divorce had also been dug up. Everyone was desperate to capture the first-hand scoop. Wenzhou arrived earlier than I did. Standing beside him were his parents, and an entire legal team. When his mother saw me, her glare was like a dagger. Sha Ming Tang, are you finally satisfied now that you've actually dragged this all the way to court? I said, satisfied is hardly the word for it, but it is absolutely necessary. She turned blue with anger. Lu's father spoke with a cold tone. Ming Tang, if you drop the lawsuit right now, our family will give you a lump sum of money. The child can still stay with you often. I stared right at him. Stay with me often? His tone was so obnoxiously matter-of-fact. Xing Xing's last name is Lu, after all. I let out a laugh. Then we'll just change his last name. The faces of all 3 Lu family members drained of color simultaneously. Sha Ming Tang, do you really have to push things this far? I couldn't be bothered wasting another breath on him. See you in court. Lu Wenzhou's legal team argued that our marriage hadn't completely broken down, and that I was emotionally unstable. They claimed that suddenly taking the child away would be harmful to his development. His lawyer even insinuated that after winning the lottery, I had been spending recklessly, with absolutely no stable plan for the future. Qin Zhao Shui let out a short scoff. Then, she launched her counterattack. First set of evidence, residential records since my client left with the child, nanny qualifications, and kindergarten pickup authorizations, along with our safety protocols. Second set of evidence, Xing Xing's educational trust documents. This proves that the child's daily living, educational, and medical needs all have stable, long-term arrangements. Third set of evidence, long-term improper financial transactions. Fourth set of evidence, concealing and transferring joint marital assets. Fifth set of evidence, a 30 million accident insurance policy. Sixth set of evidence, kindergarten security footage showing Chao Wanqing attempting to pick up the child without guardian consent. Lu Wenzhou sat across the room, his face turning ashen inch by inch. When it was my turn to make a statement, the judge asked me, Ms. Shaw, do you insist on seeking full custody of the child? I stood up. Yes, Your Honor. Your reasons? I looked right at Lu Wenzhou. Number 1. Since birth, I have been the primary caregiver. His daily life, medical care, and educational records are fully documented. Number 2. Lu Wenzhou's demanding work schedule has caused him to be chronically absent from the child's daily life and development. Number 3. He maintains intimate financial and emotional ties with Chao Wanqing, who previously attempted to take the child without authorization, posing a direct threat to my son's safety. Number 4. I have already established an independent trust fund for him, along with stable housing and educational arrangements. I paused for a moment, my voice growing even colder. And lastly, I do not believe that someone whose first reaction to a drowning accident was to suppress the news and dodge responsibility is fit to teach a child how to respect human life. The courtroom fell dead silent. Lu Wenzhou's head snapped up to look at me. His eyes were filled with shock, anger, and a flicker of panic that I couldn't quite understand. But I didn't care. After the hearing concluded, the court didn't announce a verdict immediately, but Qin Zhao Shui told me the situation was highly in our favor. As we walked out of the courthouse, it was still raining. He didn't have an umbrella. His hair was quickly soaked. Ming Tang. I stopped walking. His voice trembled. I swear, I had no idea things would turn out like that. Do you believe me? I looked at his rain-soaked face. For a split second, my mind flashed back to that hospital hallway from my past life. He looked just as pathetic back then, with red eyes, swearing he didn't mean to do it. But, does not meaning to bring a child back to life? Does not meaning to erase his blatant favoritism? Does not meaning to mean I should ever trust him again? Holding my umbrella, I said calmly, you think I'm angry about the outcome? He just stared at me. I continued, I hate you for the choices you made. He froze completely. I turned and got into the car. Right before the door closed, I spotted Chao Wanqing hiding behind a nearby pillar. She was glaring at Wenzhou, and her eyes held zero trace of weakness, only pure, venomous hatred. Perfect. Let the dogs tear each other apart. Had finally begun. The board meeting at Wensheng Tourism was far more brutal than any courtroom. The court at least follows procedures, but the board only cares about profits. After their IPO was suspended, multiple investment firms demanded that Wensheng buy back their shares or increase their margins. The company's cash flow was already torn to shreds by Wenzhou. And now, with the regulators breathing down their necks. You sent me a text. There's a mutiny happening inside Wensheng. They're forcing Wenzhou to hand over the original supplier contracts. I replied, hold on a little longer. Shen Yanji sat across from me, flipping through the terms for Wenzhou's next round of funding. You still have a trump card, don't you? I slid a letter of intent for an acquisition across the table to him. Wensheng Tourism only has one project that's actually worth anything. It's called the Tongxing Safety Lab. With Wensheng's capital chain broken, this team is going to be sold off. Shen Yanji finished reading it, a sharp gleam in his eyes. You want to acquire it? Not want. We absolutely have to. I tapped my finger on the document. If Anzhou is going to set the industry standard, we can't just sell equipment. We need a testing lab and a data center, too. Shen Yanji looked at me. You've had your eye on this from the very beginning, haven't you? I smiled. Ever since Wensheng started using safety as their selling point. He fell silent for a moment, then suddenly let out a laugh. Sha Mingtang, you don't act like an investor. Then what do I act like? Like a hunter. I let out a soft laugh. The prey drew its own blood. I just followed the scent. 3 days later, Wensheng Tourism held an emergency board meeting. I wasn't authorized to attend, but Yu was feeding me insider updates. The meeting dragged on from 9 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. 28, 29, 20, 30, related party transactions, 28, 26, 29, 29, 20, 30, fake testing, destination of funds, Qingzhou culture, supplier kickbacks, and that spare burner phone hidden in the south side apartment. The phone was legally seized by the authorities after Ma Wanqing tipped them off. Inside were Wenzhou's chat records with multiple suppliers. Every single message was a fatal blow. At 4 p.m., Qingsheng Cultural Tourism released an announcement. Due to internal corporate governance and financial audits, the IPO plan is temporarily suspended. Suspended from duties. Wenzhou suspended from his position as president. Suspended from duties. Cooperating with internal investigations. Suspended from duties. Less than 10 minutes after the news broke. Suspended from duties. Suspended from duties. I answered the call. Suspended from duties. His voice was hoarse. Suspended from duties. It was Chao Wanqing's doing, wasn't it? Suspended from duties. I didn't reply. Suspended from duties. He let out a low chuckle. I really didn't expect that she would turn around and bite me. I stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, looking at the flow of traffic below. You two were only ever bound together by interests, not by love. Once the money stopped flowing, of course you'd turn on each other. He stayed silent for a long time. When did you start scheming against me? I thought for a moment. When I finally saw you for who you really are. He asked. Which day was that? I looked at my own reflection in the glass. Black suit, calm eyes. I was no longer that pathetic woman from my past life who cried until she couldn't even stand. A long time ago, I didn't tell him. It was the exact day he picked up Chao Wanqing's child, and didn't even bother to look back at Xingxing. Mingtang, I'll sell the Tongxing security lab to you. Drop the divorce, and we'll start over. I almost laughed out loud. Even at a time like this, he was still trying to negotiate. Do you seriously still not get it? My voice was dead calm. The things I want, I'll take them myself. Whether you give them to me or not, is completely irrelevant. After saying that, I hung up the phone. 2 days later, the financial pressure on Qingsheng Cultural Tourism skyrocketed, and the Tongxing Security Lab was forced to be listed for sale. Anzhou Technology placed a bid immediately while other competitors hesitated, because everyone knew that Wensheng was a toxic asset right now. Getting involved was begging for trouble. But I wasn't afraid. I knew the Tongxing lab itself was perfectly clean. The rotten one was Lu Wenzhou, not the people who were actually doing the real work. On the day of the acquisition negotiations, I showed up in person. The head of Tongxing was a female PhD in her 40s. Named Xu Qingru. She looked right at me, and immediately asked, after your acquisition, are you going to lay off the team? No. Are you going to turn us into just some fancy decoration for your pitch decks? I smiled. No. Anzhou needs you to set the industry standard, not act as window dressing. I've heard some rumors about you before. Bad ones? Very ruthless. I nodded. It's true. She froze for a second. I continued, but I'm only ruthless to those who actually deserve it. As for the people who actually get the work done, I always show them my utmost respect. Xu Qingru laughed. Then I'm glad we had this talk. The night the acquisition contract was signed, Anzhou Tech officially announced the integration of the Tongxing Security Lab. The market's response was incredible. Investors who were previously on the fence came right back to the table. Anzhou's valuation was pushed to 480 million. At the signing reception, Shen Yanji handed me a glass of warm water. I stared at the other glass of champagne in his hand. Why'd I get water? He replied, you still have 3 investment terms to review tonight. Drinking messes with your judgment. I took the glass from him. You sure keep a tight leash. He looked down at me. A partner's brain is worth a lot of money right now. I smiled. This feeling of being valued as a true comrade. It felt really unfamiliar, but also really good. Chao Wanqing was officially placed under investigation on the 5th day after Wensheng Tourism's public announcement. She was suspected of fraudulent fundraising, embezzling charity funds, and assisting in the transfer of hidden assets. Right before she was taken away, she gave me one last call. I picked it up. Her voice was so faint, like she had been crying for a long time. Sha Mingtang, are you happy now? I said, not yet. She let out a low laugh. You're so ruthless, not as much as you. She fell silent. I could hear the wind on her end, and the sound of An crying out for his mom. My grip on the phone tightened. The kid was innocent, but innocence wasn't a shield for her to escape her crimes. Suddenly, Chao Wanqing said, you know, Lu Wenzhou never truly loved you. I replied coldly, that's hardly news. It was like she got stabbed. Her voice spiked in pitch. He never truly loved me either. He only loves himself. He promised me an a proper title. Said he would get a divorce as soon as the company went public. But the moment things went wrong, he threw me right under the bus. I didn't say a word. Chao Wanqing continued, you think you've won, Sha Mingtang? Being married to a piece of trash like him is the biggest stain on your entire life. I chuckled. Wrong. Her breath hitched. I said, he is a stain, but I've already washed him right out. The other end of the line went completely dead. After I hung up, I placed my phone on the desk. The sunlight outside the window was beautiful. I suddenly felt like Chao Wanqing didn't even matter that much anymore. She used to be like a thorn, jammed right between me and Wenzhou. And deep in my last bit of trust for female friends. But now, I ripped it out. Sure, it bleeds, but it will heal. In the afternoon, Lin Zhaoshui called to tell me the court's verdict had arrived. The divorce was granted. I get full custody of Xingxing. Wenzhou will pay child support, and our joint assets are now being divided. Since Lu Wenzhou tried to hide and transfer some of the assets, his share will be legally reduced or stripped completely. I sat in my office, staring at the verdict. I looked at it for a long time. I didn't cry. I just suddenly let out a deep breath. Legally, I am finally no longer Lu Wenzhou's wife. I am just Sha Mingtang and Xingxing's mom. When Shen Yanji knocked and came in, he saw the verdict in my hands. He didn't ask what the result was, he just said, congratulations. I nodded. How did you know it was good news? He replied, your eyes don't look like you lost. I smiled a little. I definitely won. He placed a folder on my desk. I have more good news. The terms for the Series B funding are set. The post-money valuation is 620 million. I raised an eyebrow. That's higher than expected, because after the Tongxing lab joined us, Anzhou now has the leverage to help set industry standards. I opened the file. The terms were clean, no harsh conditions, and no extreme demands for control. Shen Yanji had clearly filtered through many rounds. I said, we can sign this. He sat across from me and suddenly asked, do you have plans tonight? I shook my head. His face was perfectly calm. It's not a date. The Anzhou team wants to celebrate. You're the co-founder, so you really should be there. I laughed. You explained that way too fast. He went unusually quiet for a second. I closed the file. Xingxing has a piano lesson tonight. I can make it after 9. He nodded. I'll have the restaurant save some food for you. At 9 o'clock that night. When I got to the restaurant, the Anzhou team was already a round of drinks in. The tech guys and the lab researchers immediately clapped when they saw me walk in. Qingru laughed and yelled, Boss Shaw, you absolutely have to drink with us today. Shen Yanji reached over and handed me a glass of juice. She's drinking this. The whole room immediately started teasing us. I took the juice and looked at Shen Yanji. Boss Shen, you're making it really easy for people to get the wrong idea. He didn't even flinch. Everyone laughed even louder. I laughed too, ever since I was reborn. This was my first time smiling in a room where hatred wasn't pushing me forward. It wasn't a cold smirk. It wasn't a bitter sneer. I genuinely felt like my life was finally starting to move forward. When I got home early in the morning, Xingxing was already asleep. I sat right by his bed. I whispered to him, Xingxing, mommy is divorced now. He was fast asleep. No answer. I gently touched his face. From now on, we are our own new family. The little nightlight glowed with a warm yellow light. At that moment, I suddenly realized, revenge isn't about being trapped in the past forever. Revenge is about closing the door, and then, taking my child, and walking away. The day when Zhou was taken away for investigation, I was backstage at Anzhou Tech's new product launch. The audience was packed with media, partners, and investors. Today's launch was Anzhou's second-generation children's water safety system. It was much more stable than the first generation, faster, and completely suited for large family water parks and public city pools. I was going over my speech when Liang Yu sent me a text. When Zhou got taken away, the CFO of Wensheng Tourism went down too. I stared at those words, feeling completely at peace. Like a heavy rain I'd been waiting for, finally pouring down. Shen Yanji walked up beside me. What is it? I showed him my phone. He read it over, and just said it was bound to happen. I nodded. Out front, the host was already introducing Anzhou Tech. Standing behind the curtain, I heard my name called. And now, please welcome the co-founder and chief strategy officer of Anzhou Tech, Ms. Sha Mingtang. I handed my phone to my assistant, and stepped onto the stage. The spotlight hit me. I could see countless eyes staring up from the crowd. I used to be so terrified of being seen, so terrified of being judged. Terrified of messing up, but later, I learned the truth. Fear gets you nowhere. The more scared you are, the more people will try to trample you into the dirt. I stood right in the center of the stage, and pulled up the very first slide. On the screen was a single line of text. Safety is not a story. Safety is the bottom line. I began to speak. Many companies love to write child safety into their business pitches, their IPO filings, and their brand stories. But for children and for their parents, safety isn't some marketing story. It is the absolute bottom line that must be protected every single day. The crowd fell completely silent. I didn't mention Wenzhou. I didn't mention Wencheng tourism either. I just talked about our product. I talked about real-world scenarios and our testing protocols. I talked about safety standards. I explained what happens the exact second a child steps out of their parents' line of sight, and how our system instantly steps in to protect them. Finally, I said, Tech will never promise you a world with zero accidents. But we do promise this: we will never use fake data to buy your real trust. The applause erupted. I looked over and saw Shen Yanji standing at the edge of the stage, his gaze steady and proud. After the launch event wrapped up, it was time for Q&A. One reporter stood up and asked, Ms. Shaw, everyone knows you were once married to Wenzhou, the former CEO of Wencheng Tourism. Now that Wencheng is under investigation for fabricating their safety systems, what are your thoughts? The whole room went dead silent. Shen Yanji frowned slightly, picked up the microphone. I'll just say one thing. The truth behind any safety incident or fraud shouldn't be reduced to just cheap gossip about someone's private life. Corporate fraud is corporate fraud. A regulatory investigation is a regulatory investigation. Instead of who I used to be married to, I really hope everyone pays attention to why a safety system that never even finished real-world testing almost made its way into public children's areas. The reporters froze, but very quickly, applause broke out across the audience. I put the microphone down. Someone in the back row gave me a thumbs up. After the press conference ended, I didn't go to the celebration dinner. Instead, I went to pick up Xingxing. His school had a parent-child safety class today, and the teachers had invited the parents to join. By the time I got there, the event had just wrapped up. Xingxing came out holding his teacher's hand. The second he saw me, he threw himself into my arms. Mommy, today the teacher said that we have to listen to grown-ups when playing in the water, and we can't go to dangerous places. I hugged him tight. You're so smart, Xingxing. He went on. The teacher also said that the bracelets Mommy's company makes can protect little kids. I smiled. That's right. He looked up at me and asked, does that make Mommy a hero who protects kids? I froze for a second, then nodded. Mommy is trying her best to be one. He looked at me so seriously and said, I think Mommy already is. My eyes suddenly stung with tears. Just then, a hoarse voice came from close by. Xingxing. I turned around. Lu Wenzhou was standing outside the school gates. He had lost so much weight. His suit was a wrinkled mess, and his face was covered in unkempt stubble. 2 officers were standing right behind him. It was obvious that before taking him away, they had let him come over one last time. Xingxing shrank back behind me. When Wenzhou saw that, the color completely drained from his face. He squatted down, his voice trembling. Xingxing, Daddy just wants to say something to you. Xingxing gripped the edge of my shirt, whispering, Mommy, I want to go home. I gently stroked his hair. Okay, let's go home. Lu Wenzhou's head snapped up to look at me. Ming Tang, please, just let me talk to him. Just one sentence. I looked down at him. In the past, I used to think I'd wait for the day he finally regretted everything, waited to see him break down crying. Waited for him to fall to his knees in front of me, and only then would I feel satisfied. But now that the day is actually here, all I feel is that this is a total waste of time. A child is not a prop for your redemption. His eyes immediately grew red. I just want him to know that I'm his dad. I looked down and asked Xingxing, do you want to talk to him? Xingxing glanced at Lu Wenzhou, then shook his head. I don't want to. His answer was so quiet. That was heavier than any sentence. Wenzhou looked like his soul had been sucked dry. I picked up Xingxing and walked right past him. As we brushed past each other, he whispered, Ming Tang, I was really wrong. I stopped for a second. You're not wrong. I turned my head to look at him. You just lost. He froze right there. I didn't look back again. 3 months later, Beisheng Cultural Tourism officially filed for bankruptcy and restructuring. Ling Wenzhou was indicted on charges of corporate embezzlement, illegal disclosures, and falsifying financial data. Chao Wanqing, for setting up fake charities, embezzling funds, and helping hide assets, was sentenced to prison. The Ling family tried pulling strings to save him, only to find that everyone kicks a man when he's down. All those people who used to kiss up to Ling Wenzhou were now busy cutting ties. His mother called me once. She sobbed over the phone. crying that Xing Xing couldn't live without a father, that I couldn't be so heartless. I just gave her one reply. Whether he has a father or not doesn't depend on me. It depends on what Wen-jo did. She cursed me for being vicious. I just hung up and blocked her number. When Qin Zhao Shui heard about it, she laughed her head off. Congratulations, Ms. Shaw, you now have the basic survival skills of a mature, divorced woman. What skills? Not taking any garbage. I laughed out loud. After that, life started getting really busy. Enjo Tech closed its Series B funding. The Tongxing lab was officially upgraded to the Enjo Safety Standards Center. Xu Qingru led her team to draft a white paper on children's water safety, which got adopted by several cities. Shen Yanji handled the tech in the capital, while I took charge of the strategy and execution. We argued a lot, over pricing, over channels, and over whether to take on certain high-risk clients. There was this one time, a massive amusement park offered us top dollar, but demanded we launch first and run the safety tests later. Shen Yanji hadn't even opened his mouth when I slid the contract right back to them. No deal. The guy looked furious. Ms. Shaw, you can't be this idealistic in business. I stared him down. And you can't cut corners when it comes to safety. We lost that deal. But from that day on, the Enjo team completely trusted me as their head of strategy. Not because I had money, but because I knew exactly where to draw the line. 6 months later, Enjo Tech became the most talked about startup in the national child safety tech space. I also landed my first cover on a financial magazine. The headline read, "From a broken marriage to the queen of safety tech, Xia Mingtang's second life." They sent me a picture of the magazine and asked if I wanted to save a copy. I said, keep one for Xing Xing. When I got home that night, Xing Xing was leaning over the table, staring at the cover. He stared at it for a long time. Mom, is this you? I nodded. It is. His little hand gently touched the cover. Mommy is so amazing. I pulled him onto my lap. Xing Xing will be super amazing when he grows up, too. He thought for a second. Can I just not be amazing? I froze. He looked at me so seriously and said, I want to open a dinosaur cake shop. I couldn't stop laughing. Of course you can. I kissed the top of his head gently. My sweet Xing Xing doesn't need to be amazing. You just need to be safe and happy. Just do what you love. That was the one thing I wanted to give him most in this second life of mine. Not a giant mansion, not a massive pile of money, not beating everyone else. It was the freedom to never be suffocated by anyone else's wild ambitions. The freedom to just be exactly who he is. That night, after Xing Xing fell asleep, I walked out onto the balcony. Shen Yanji sent me a text. I'm downstairs. I looked down over the edge. There he was, leaning against his car, holding a little paper bag. I made my way downstairs. He handed the bag over to me. Inside was a tiny dinosaur cake. I raised an eyebrow at him. For Xing Xing? For both of you. He paused for a second. To celebrate your big success, he said softly. I let out a laugh. You have a really unique taste in gifts. Xing Xing told me you've been swamped lately and haven't had any sweets. I just stood there looking at him as the cool night breeze drifted by. His face was as composed as ever, but there was a new, gentle warmth in his eyes. Suddenly, I spoke up. Shen Yanji, do you know what I have absolutely no shortage of right now? He met my gaze. I gave a little smirk. People chasing after me. He chuckled softly. Then I guess I'll get in line. I stared at him. He just nodded. I'm a very patient man. I looked down at the little cake box in my hands and stayed quiet for a long moment. The old me, in my past life, treated love like it was my only safe haven. And because of that, I lost absolutely everything. But in this life, I refused to treat anyone like my savior ever again. But what if there was someone who wasn't here to rescue me? Someone who wasn't trying to control me, but just wanted to stand right by my side. To look out at the long road ahead, together. Maybe I could slowly start to trust again. I tilted my head up to look at him. Shen Yanji, I don't need you to give me a home. He looked right back at me. I know, and I am not going to slow down for anyone. I know that, too. Then why are you still getting in line? He held my gaze, his voice dropping to a low, steady whisper. I'm not here to hold you back. In the quiet darkness of the night, his eyes shone so brightly. I just wanted to ask, if you'd like to walk forward together. My heart gave a tiny, unexpected flutter. There was no wild, burning passion. No earth-shattering drama, just a really beautiful, quiet moment. I realized I actually didn't want to back away. I took the cake. Let's start with the cake, he smiled. Okay. 1 year later, Enjo Tech officially completed its Series C funding, with a valuation topping $3 billion. A lot of people showed up on the day of the launch event. Government representatives, partner cities, investment firms, the media, partner theme parks, and many parents who had used Enjo's devices. I stood at the back, watching the new product presentation on the big screen. The third-generation system wasn't just for water safety anymore. It had expanded to schools, shopping malls, family entertainment centers, and educational camps. It featured child abduction alerts, danger zone warnings, emergency SOS calls, and multi-point syncing. All of these features were genuinely protecting so many kids. Shu Qingru walked over, handing me a document. The draft for the industry standards has passed. The moment I saw the official seal on it, I suddenly remembered the freezing water from my past life. I used to think that water would drown me forever. But now, I've finally walked out of that water, and built a bridge so more children can cross safely. Before the launch event started, Qin Zhaoshui arrived too. She wore a red suit, radiating absolute boss energy. Boss Shaw, congratulations. I smiled. Lawyer Qin, so formal today? She raised an eyebrow. My client is gearing up for an IPO, of course I had to come see. Liang Yu followed right behind her, holding up a camera. Let me get a picture. I already have the headline, after being pushed to the brink by a scumbag. She turns around and builds a 3 billion safety empire. I sighed helplessly. Can you please not use that headline? Liang Yu replied, completely unapologetic. Nope, the readers love this stuff. We all laughed. Xingxing was here today too. He wore a little suit with a dinosaur brooch pinned to his chest. Holding his nanny's hand, he ran over the second he saw me. Mommy, I crouched down and caught him in my arms. He shook his head. I'm not nervous. Uncle Shen said Mommy is a queen today. I looked over. Shen Yanji was standing not too far away, talking with some investors. Hearing Xingxing happily snitching on him, he turned his head and looked right at me. I raised an eyebrow. He just gave a calm, unabashed nod. Xingxing leaned close to my ear and whispered, Mommy, Uncle Shen looks really handsome today too. I couldn't help but laugh. Who taught you to say that? His eyes were shining. Auntie Shu did. I glanced over at Shu Qingru. Shu Qingru pretended to look at the documents, but everyone was trying to hold back their laughter. The launch event officially began. I walked onto the stage. The applause from the audience was so warm. I looked out at the lights. Suddenly, there was no fear left in me at all. I used to think that a person's life could be completely ruined by a single mistake. Marrying the wrong man, trusting the wrong friends, giving up a career, losing all your dignity, but getting to live it all over again. I finally realized what truly destroys a person isn't the mistake itself, but refusing to wake up from it. I woke up, and that is why I survived. I spoke into the mic. 1 year ago, when I invested in Anjotech, a lot of people asked me why I chose the child safety industry. The room was completely silent. Some people thought it was just a business trend, others thought it was for commercial value, and some felt it was nothing more than an emotional choice made during the absolute lowest point of my life. I paused for a second. But today, I can tell you with absolute certainty, this was not an emotional choice. I looked toward the massive screen. It lit up with footage of kids running around, playing in the water, going to school, and holding their parents' hands at the mall. Because a child's safety should never depend on pure luck, and a parent's trust should never be betrayed. Applause erupted across the room. Moving forward, Anjotech will invest 5% of its annual profits into child safety charities. We will provide low-income communities, rural schools and public swimming areas with safety equipment and educational programs. The applause grew even louder. I continued, the very first initiative of this charity fund will be called the Starlight Project. Star, for my daughter, Xingxing, and for the guiding light that every single child deserves. After the event wrapped up, I sat down for one last interview. The reporter asked me, Ms. Shaw, over the past year you've been through a broken marriage, massive public scandals and a huge career shift. What do you think is the biggest change in yourself? I thought about it for a moment. In the past, I was always trying to prove that I was worthy of being loved. The reporter looked at me. I smiled. Now, I don't try to prove it anymore. Why is that? Because I know that I have always been worthy. Shen Yanji was waiting for me in the hallway. He was holding a bouquet in his hands. Not roses, but sunflowers. I took them from him. Mr. Shen, you finally don't look like an investor today. I teased. You look like a suitor. He laughed softly. I've been waiting in line for a whole year. I think it's time I moved up a spot. I looked at him. I didn't push him away. From a distance, Xingxing came running toward us. Mommy, let's go eat dinosaur cake. I held my little girl's hand with one hand, and held the flowers with the other. Shen Yanji walked right beside me. The sunlight poured in through the glass windows, stretching our shadows out long and bright. That exact moment, I didn't think of Wen Zhou, nor did I think of Chao Wanqing. Those who wronged me had already gotten exactly what they deserved. Wen Zhou lost absolutely everything, and Chao Wanqing can never use her tears to manipulate anyone ever again. The dignity his family once paraded so proudly has been shattered into a million pieces. And as for me, I am finally stepping out of everyone's shadow. I am no longer the obedient wife, no longer the woman tossed aside by her husband, no longer the pathetic fool stabbed in the back by her own best friend. I am Xia Mingtang. I am Xingxing's mother, the co-founder of Anja Technology, and the true master of my own destiny. In my past life, I lost my baby, and died in cold, bitter despair. But in this life, I pulled him straight out of fate's cruel flood with my own 2 hands. And then, using 60 million as my very first bullet, I shot down every single person who wronged me, knocking them right off their high horses. People ask me, what's the greatest meaning of being reborn? I think, it isn't revenge. Nor is it getting rich overnight. It's that when fate pushed me back to that exact same crossroads, I finally refused to walk down that path to the abyss. I held my child, turned my back, and walked away. From now on, only light lies ahead.